so many good storylines. You have the Lindgren brothers, Ryan and his brother Charlie, in goal for the Caps. You have Peter Laviolette coaching against Washington, the team that he coached last year. So, the storylines are plenty. The Rangers certainly the favorites. They won the President's Trophy, so they have to be. You have to give the Caps a lot of credit for battling. I think 6 weeks ago, if somebody told you the Islanders and the Capitals would make the playoffs, you wouldn't have thought so at that point. And what a crazy night it was. As we record this, it was last night with the Philadelphia, Detroit, Washington, Philadelphia game all going on at once. But, it should be a fun series. There are probably 12 teams that legitimately think they can win the Stanley Cup of the 16 that are in the playoffs. And, it's crazy, Jim, that you look at Boston, Toronto, and Florida, Tampa, and two of those teams will lose in the first round. And those losing teams probably feel right now that they can win the cup. So,
right.
With the parity and the way the NHL is now, the other thing I find ironic is in the East, if you take the four matchups, they would be the exact same matchups if it was the old 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, 3, 6, and 4, 5. It won't be that way in the West, but it would be the exact same matchups in the East. So really looking forward to this series and whatever other ones that I'm involved in on the TV side as well.
Oh, yeah, you do this, the bouncing back and forth. Are you going to do, well, let's see. No, then you got the Knicks going on too. So 93, 94, and now, that season heading into that postseason and then this postseason, the similarities to me are striking. To me, it's the first time really in 30 years that you can say, boy, Rangers, Knicks going into the postseason, and boy, do they both have a chance to win it all, right?
Yeah,
This hasn't happened since.
They both absolutely do. The Knicks won 50 games, doing it the last 2 months without a number of key players in the lineup. They finished with the second seed in the East. The Rangers win the President's Trophy, franchise record, 55 wins, 114 points. When I think back to that spring of 94, and I wasn't living here at the time, I was living in DC, but I was in New York a lot because working for the Capitals then, they played the Rangers in the second round. So I was up for those games and then wound up working the final on NHL radio with Sherry Ross. Was not up for any of the Ranger Devil games. I watched most of them on TV down in the DC, Maryland area. Believe it or not, they weren't all available on TV back then, out of town. So that was such a fun time. And with the Knicks playing every other night and the Rangers, on the other nights, I remember being out in Vancouver and watching one of the Knick games against Indiana, I guess, as they wrap things up in the Eastern Conference Final. And then, of course, the Rangers won on a Tuesday, June 14th, and then the Knicks had a home game 4 on the 15th, and Messier brought the cup out to center court. I was at that game as a fan. And then the Ranger Parade is on Friday the 17th, and that night is the Knicks game 5 and the OJ chase as well, ironically.